Hi Year 3, it is Thursday the 28th of January and it's time for our next instalment of Which Was? We are on to chapter 28, which is called Cove Madness. Behind the door of the house in the cove lay a long dark corridor lined with old paintings of even older looking cakes. Tiga also spotted one of a fat cat juggling. At the end of the corridor was a large door, its edges glowing from the light behind it. "Isn't this fun?" Betty said, skipping along arm in arm with Peggy. Tiga was walking nervously behind, next to a slow and shuffling Lily. She held onto her hat. "Watch your head," she whispered to Peggy, but she wasn't listening. Up ahead, Betty grabbed the handle and flung the door open. Light cascaded down the hall, wiping out the darkness, and when Tiga saw what lay beyond it, she gasped. "Whee!" squealed a witch as she swung from a chandelier and landed with a thud on the table beneath. She grabbed a bottle and yanked the cork out with her jagged teeth. Another woman was stirring some chocolate in a bowl next to 5 witches who were singing songs and cackling loudly. The room was crammed with witches, and Tiga could see beyond into the next room and through to the next one after that. All of them were filled with witches, laughing and joking and having a whale-sized dolphin of a time, or something like that. "No one ever wants to leave," Betty laughed. "We haven't been able to get rid of anyone for over 3,000 years. "Life is one big party," a witch on rollerblades squeaked as she skated past them and fell face first on a cake. Uproarious laughter filled the room. "This is Tiga and Peggy," Lily announced to the room as she took a seat on a rocking chair in the corner. "I don't remember telling her our names," Tiga whispered to Peggy. "Do you?" "Witch Wars witches!" another witch cried as she danced past. "Ah," Tiga said. She'd forgotten witches all over Sinkville were watching footage of her on Witch Wars. Peggy wasn't listening anyway. She was grinning at a large witch floating fast up from her seat towards the ceiling. Her head crashed through the roof. She giggled and fell to the floor with a bang. Another witch's face appeared in the hole. "Come upstairs," she cried. "We're having a party." "I can see why no one wants to leave," Tiga said. "We keep having to build more house to accommodate them," said Lily, sighing at the hole in the roof. A sparkly shoe fell through it and landed on the table. "I wish I'd never invented that levitation spell." "You invented the levitation spell?" Peggy asked, clearly impressed. "That was you?" Lily smiled, completely by accident. Tiga watched as Peggy's mouth fell open. "By accident? Letty, Manteri, Lie, Mood, Lobely, Make Ma, Min Sout was by accident." Peggy's eyes shot to her feet. She frowned. "No levitation." Lily nodded. "We were having a party and we'd made lots of cakes and the bins were overflowing with bottles and old cake, and I said to Betty Cranberry, I should probably take the bins out, but my voice was a bit muffled from all the cake in my mouth, so it came out as Letty Manteri, Lie Mood Lobely Make My Mins Out. And then I just started floating." Tiga looked at Peggy, who was prodding Lily as if she was some sort of fascinating beast. "You invented the levitation spell, one of the most difficult spells of all time, by accident." "Tiga, she invented the levitation spell by accident." Tiga nodded. Perhaps she would have been more excited if she hadn't just learned the day before that levitation was a thing, and she wasn't still worried that the witches in the cove might eat them. Tiga pointed at a painting of a woman in a gigantic ruffled skirt. "Who's that?" "Why, that's Eddie Egby, fashion explorer," Betty said. She was brilliant. Disappeared about 100 years ago. No one knows what happened to her. She climbed up a bookcase and pulled a little leather folder down from the top shelf. She went on adventures above the pipes and brought back drawings of all the latest fashions. Fascinating stuff. Tiga took the folder and flicked through the papers. There were hundreds of little pencil drawings of women and scribbles next to them. Eddie Egby's fashion findings from the faraway land above the pipes. The hobble skirt, a most peculiar invention. The bottom of the skirt is so tight around the ankles that the women can barely walk and instead waddle like well-dressed penguins. Bonnets. The women are now wearing the same hats as babies, At first I feared giant babies had taken over the world, but it's just women in bonnets. Ruffle bottoms! This fashion is all of a sudden nothing but ruffles on the bottom. It makes the wearer look as if they have sat in a cake and the cake has in turn stuck to the bottom. Quite extraordinary. I am a fan. Fluffanora would love this, said Tiga. She was fascinated by my jeans. Take it, said Betty. We've all read it here. Tiga beamed. Thank you. So, you're from above the pipes, Tiga, Lily said. What do you think of Sinkville? It's incredible, Tiga said. Then she realised something. You've lived here for thousands of years, haven't you? I believe so, said Lily. Do you know anyone who knows me? Lily got up off her chair and walked towards Tiga. Remind me of your surname? Wickerbim, Tiga said, taking the anonymous letter out of her pocket. Anyone know a Wickerbim? Lily roared. There was a silence, followed by a chorus of, No. Why do you want to know? Lily asked. No reason, Tiga said, and she stuffed the letter back in her pocket. Peggy came racing into the room with cake all over her face. I fell into it, she said, pointing at her chin. Tiga hadn't even realised Peggy had left her side. Ah, you're a great girl, a witch said, squeezing Peggy and shoving more cake in her face. One of us. Between munches of cake, she managed to say, Tiga, I think I found the next clue, but we have a problem. And that's where we are going to stop today, owls. So our next chapter is chapter 29, The Clue. Or there's a question mark there. The Clue. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.